Welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel. I'm Jessica James. Today we have a show that you're not going to want to miss. Joining us from the Erie County Sheriff's Office is Sheriff John Loomis and Chief Deputy John Habersky. Both the men and women of this department are dedicated to serving and protecting the citizens of Erie County by keeping our community safe and helping to create a better quality of life for all of our families. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Government Channel today. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are very busy.
You're welcome.
If you don't mind, as I mentioned, I know you are here to protect and serve the general public of Erie County, but if you don't mind maybe just expanding on that a little bit for me and telling me what your mission really is.
Sure. Jessica, the primary role of the Sheriff's Office is to protect Erie County employees, the Court of Common Pleas on a daily basis, protect county properties throughout the county, and a variety of court-related duties. We transport prisoners on a daily basis for various court proceedings, ranging from court appearances before the Common Pleas judges and Central Court, which is held on the first floor of the courthouse by the magisterial judges.
Okay, and when did your department originate? When did it start?
We've looked back, and the Sheriff's Office originated in 1803.
Really?
Yes.
So it's been around a very long time.
Very long time.
And your position is elected, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Wonderful. And when were you elected to position?
I was elected in 2014.
Wonderful. So you've been here a few years with us now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. And I know we're
quick.
I bet it is. We're going to get into your background a little bit later here. But the Erie County Sheriff's Office is made up of a lot of different sub-departments or divisions. Can you tell me what some of those divisions are and what is done under each division?
Certainly. We don't like to call them divisions because everybody goes through the same training and everybody's capable of doing whatever job duty they're assigned for that day. But we handle warrants, which are criminal warrants, domestic relations warrants, which are individuals that are delinquent on their payments, cost warrants, which are individuals which have gone through the system, gone through probation, but have failed to pay their court costs. We have a clerical division that is derived by 7 employees, 5 employees at the moment, of which they handle the preparation for subpoenas, civil lawsuits, things of that nature, different court orders, PFAs, that the deputies would then go out and serve on a daily basis. We have a civil unit that would take those documents that are prepared by clerical and see to it they're served throughout the areas of the county in a timely fashion.
Sure. Okay, so we went over civil, clerical, warrants, and how about firearms?
We have a license to carry firearms division. That daily operation is headed by Deputy Bob Wolf, who has that assignment on a daily basis. Chief Habersky is vital in that section with Deputy Wolf with any questions or problems that may arise. And that in that aspect of the job, I've been with the office I was with the office 23 years before I was elected. I've learned more in that portion of the job in the last 3 years than I ever have.
Can you tell me how so?
Well, I was in the warrant process and apprehension teams for several years. That's what I did mostly. I obviously had court assignments, et cetera, but my focus was in warrants. And when I took office and when things started to arise in our community with the gunfire and gunplay, we decided to see what we could do to focus on license to carry a little closer.
Sure, sure. And so there is an application you have to fill out. Can you tell me what is that process for the application to carry?
The application itself it's available online on our website, and it can be downloaded, printed, and all the questions have to be asked truthfully, because if they're, and this happens more often than not now, we do a pretty intensive investigation. If someone lies about a past criminal history, they subsequently are arrested for unsworn falsification to authorities. So, and we have charged people for that. But they fill out the application. It's $20 in cash only. Their photograph is taken, then the investigation begins.
Okay.
Typically, if a law-abiding citizen with no criminal history will have their license to carry sent by mail in 5 to 7 days.
And does that, okay, 5 to 7 days. And does that expire?
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. And is that an Erie County, Pennsylvania rule, or?
It's a Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania law. Okay, great. And I think I do know a few people myself who have their license to carry, and you do have to have, oh gosh, what do I want to call it? Some character witnesses, or maybe somebody who is willing to vouch for you.
Yes. 2 references that we can call and verify that you're an upstanding citizen, that you don't have any issues that would preclude you or make you a dangerous person in the community.
Sure, sure. And do you, maybe you don't know off the top of your head, but how many licenses to carry do you guys think you issue in a year? Is that a tough number to?
It's a tough number. Last year, I want to say ballpark, it was around 7,000.
Oh, wow.
But in those, some of those were individuals coming back to renew. So without my numbers in front of me,
Right.
I believe that was roughly the figure that we did in 2015.
Sure, sure. And is there anything else you guys want to talk about, either under the firearms section or the license to carry, that you want the general public and our viewers to know about?
We'd like the viewers to know that, with things that are going on in the community and in the nation, a lot of times I've been asked, when do you see an influx of individuals coming in to get their license? The chief and I have had several conversations after incidents within the country, but when something happens, where we'll see somewhat of an influx. When something happens at home, and when I say at home, within the state of Pennsylvania or within Erie County, we see an obvious influx of applicants that come in. It just, I don't, personally speaking, I just think people want to be prepared. And in the event they need to protect themselves, their homes, or their families.
Sure.
I mean, you don't need a license to carry to have a firearm in your house, but some people are beginning to believe that they need one when they leave their house.
And I was going to say, we should probably touch on that. What does the license to carry allow them to do? Where does that let them carry?
It allows them to carry concealed on their person, meaning underneath a jacket, some type of holster that may go inside the pants. It also gives you the right to have it in a vehicle. If you do not have a license to carry and you are concealing that weapon, you're in violation of the law and could be arrested.
Okay.
That's in a motor vehicle and on your person.
So if you don't have a license to carry, and I guess this is just off the top of my head, and maybe you're taking your gun to the gun range, you want to go practice shooting, and maybe you get stopped by an officer on the way there. What's the best way to handle that if you don't have a license to carry? Because you'd be allowed to transport it or not? You would have to have a carry to transport it as well.
You can certainly transport it, and some of the, I guess, the guidelines we give to people, and that question comes off often, and it is keep the weapon and the ammunition separate.
That's
Maybe the weapon in the trunk of the vehicle, the ammunition in the front. Therefore, you're not concealing the weapon.
Right.
And you're just going to the range to practice, to enjoy shooting as a sport.
Right,
So,
and I've heard that a lot. I'm glad you
Okay.
mentioned that
Okay.
because that is something I've heard a lot. Just moving on, I guess, past the firearms and the license to carry, you have a few other divisions. You've got the mounted posse, the school resource officer, and the scuba division. And do you want to touch on any of those?
Our mounted posse and our scuba divisions are both separate entities. They are under the guise of the Erie County Sheriff's Office. These folks are all volunteers. They are self-funded. These both the scuba, obviously the scuba team is utilized whenever they have some sort of water rescue or water recovery. The mounted posse has been used outside Erie County in areas that don't have a mounted posse. I know they've been down into Crawford County on occasion. They have been called out in Erie County for lost individuals, senior citizens that may have wandered into the woods, and to see where these folks can go on a horse is...
It's incredible, I'm sure.
It is. It's unbelievable.
And I'm sure on a horse, you can probably get to different locations that you wouldn't necessarily be able to by foot or by vehicle. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Even like ATVs, these horses can go where no vehicle can.
Yeah, animals are incredible. I did do an interview with the scuba division, but I also did one with Canine Search and Rescue.
Okay.
And it's just amazing to learn how helpful they are to us. I mean, I know that we want to, have these animals as pets, but they are such an asset and a resource to us. Like you said, when individuals are missing or you're looking for somebody, it can be very, very helpful. A few other questions I'm sure you guys get a lot. How many warrants does the Sheriff's Office serve and process annually? You might have touched on that a little bit, but go ahead and tell us again.
Our warrant service numbers for 2015, I don't have them off the top of my head. This will be ballpark. They were somewhere in the range of 2,000.
2,000.
Yes, and that were processed and or apprehended and disposed of. I know I mentioned going back to the civil division or the civil process last year with the number of subpoenas and lawsuits and divorce decrees and things of that nature that were served. We served just under 15,000. So when people think deputy sheriff, a lot of times they say, "Oh yeah, you guys walk prisoners down the hallway of the courthouse."
It's so much more than that.
It's so much more than that. And getting back to the last unit would be the school resource officers. We currently have six. Six. My fault. These deputies are dedicated to their own school. We have one in Fairview, Northwestern, Northeast. Help me out.
Okay.
Keep going.
General McLean,
General McLean,
Harbor Creek.
and was that 6? I believe so.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Fairview.
Fairview.
Okay.
Yes. Wattsburg.
Wattsburg.
That was the sixth
Yeah.
one. I
We
was
have
going to
six.
say.
I'm sorry.
I was
Okay.
counting.
Yep.
Wattsburg was
I was
the
trying
last
to
one.
go from west
Yep.
to east,
Yeah.
but these deputies do a variety of programs at the different levels, the high school, the middle school, and the elementary level. The chief can elaborate more on school resource. He was one for 8 years.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
And I'm sure, when I was in school, at least, we had the officers come in and talk about the DARE program and, the anti-drug policies. Do they still do that, or
Oh, yeah,
has the
absolutely.
educational focus changed a little
Yes.
bit?
No, I mean, you have a curriculum that you develop, and you'll get in with health and history classes, gym classes, and you'll talk about the dangers of drug and alcohol. Always do programs, pre-prom programs, pre-homecoming programs about, underage drinking, date rape, things of that nature. And they really, really do a phenomenal job, working with the kids. And the 8 years I spent, I was able to build a rapport that has been, going on for years. I cared about the kids, the school district. It meant a lot to me to make sure that they were safe every day, not only during school hours, but after school hours. So you become passionate about it.
Oh,
So
sure. And what school district were you with?
I was at the Harbor Creek
At
School.
Harbor Creek? And
Yes.
for how many years?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm sure you saw those kids grow up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if were you working in elementary, middle school, and high
Yes,
school?
I had 5 schools in
Yeah.
the entire district, and I'd make my rounds, and you'd go from high-fiving kindergarten kids to maybe eating lunch with them to, kids that were apprehensive about, you being in uniform, but we don't want kids to be afraid of us.
Right.
We want them to talk to us, and then you establish that rapport in middle school. And then high school, obviously, they're a little standoffish, especially when I first got there, and they didn't really know how to take, this is the first time an officer has been in our school. Do we have a bad school? No, that's not the intention. We started this in 2000. It was a federal grant, and now the schools are, they pay 75% of the salary and wages for the deputies, and the county pays 25. It's a terrific program.
That's wonderful. And like you said, no, these aren't bad schools. You're being proactive
Absolutely.
Correct.
in the community, and they're getting to know you. And I'm sure you had so many kids, come up to you and just, I don't want to say use you as a guidance counselor, but I'm sure they came out and, really got to know you and they trusted you.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's self-gratification when someone says, hey, you mean a lot to me, and you helped me get through school. I mean, it's,
You made a difference.
Absolutely, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Of course, absolutely. So tell me, and you kind of went into what you did for a long time with the schools, but tell me, what do your daily duties look like? Because I am sure what you both do every day in and day out is not the same.
No, it begins with the chief and I make it a point to attend daily roll call with the rest of the command staff and the deputies.
And how many did you say were on the command staff, or how many do you oversee total?
I have two. I have a captain that's in charge of the warrants and daily operations. I have 2 lieutenants. My captain is Captain Jeff Guild. My lieutenant is in charge, or my lieutenant in charge of the courts and daily scheduling for the courts is Lieutenant Chris Campanelli. And finally, Lieutenant Bill Fenton oversees all civil process and protection from abuse orders.
Okay.
On a daily basis, the court assignments are handed out. We very rarely have a full complement due to the fact where a team of 2 deputies might be traveling outside the state to pick up prisoners. There could be individuals or deputies conducting extradition out of state, but for the most part, everybody gets their court in. Some will be in court all day.
Oh, okay.
Some maybe just a portion of the morning, and then they get their paperwork together, and then they go out and they hit the streets.
And and what does that mean exactly?
Well, they go out, they grab their papers that they need to service to locate individuals, to give them their court notices. But when they're out there, they're listening to the city's calls, and in the event anybody would need assistance, they don't hesitate.
Yeah.
And that's another role that the sheriff's office plays, where we act as a resource in an assistance role anywhere we're at, especially if we're out in the further out areas of the county, Albion, Northeast,
Sure.
Where the smaller departments are. They've given us calls where they want to team up and do warrants in their area, and we're glad to do it.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So you guys have a full plate every day,
Yeah.
and do you guys, is there like shifts that work weekends as well then, or Monday through Friday and then?
Well, the primary hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We have a deputy that's on call every day throughout the night in the event something were to happen. A lot of times some agencies pick up individuals on our warrants, but they can't leave their jurisdictions, so that on-call deputy would find a partner and go out and pick the individual up, so those officers don't have to leave their own area.
And it sounds like, you know, just like any other police officer or law enforcement individual, you guys have a dangerous job and you need to take precautions, and I'm sure you are well educated. Can you tell me what were your backgrounds in becoming the sheriff and deputy sheriff?
Well, ours are similar.
Are they?
I started at the Erie County Prison in 1980 and spent 12 years there.
Wow.
And in 92, an opening came in the sheriff's office, and I had no intention in applying for it, but did eventually and got the job, and here I am 30-some years later.
Here, it just sounds like a breeze. Like, oh, I just blinked, I woke up, and here I am.
It seems that way.
And what was your background?
Pretty much the same. I graduated from college. I worked at Harbor Creek Home for Boys for a period of time. Then I was hired for the Erie County Prison, where I worked 12 years, same amount of years. And then I took the sheriff's test, and which something that I always wanted to do, an agency I always wanted to work for. And worked a couple of years courthouse security, and then an opening became available in a school, and that's where I went. And then I think 6 years ago I was promoted to chief deputy, and here I am today. So
Okay.
Yep, so-
And do you have to do continuing education classes then also?
yes.
Yes,
Right.
every 2 years.
Okay, and which of those classes, what are some of the names of those classes? You know, do you have to go back for, you know,
Well, we go primarily legal updates, any changes in the law, they go over. Who does the schooling? Temple University.
Temple University writes a curriculum.
oh, okay.
And they update everybody on any changes in the law. They review a lot of safety issues and changes in what's happening in the community, in statewide, nationwide,
Okay.
and while you're out there on the streets, how to remain safe and how to keep the public safe.
Sure, sure. And I know I have some questions that you probably get asked a lot. And one of them is, can you actually pull over a vehicle and stop someone for like a traffic or speeding ticket, something
Absolutely.
like that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Good to know.
We are trained and certified and by legislator and statute that deputy sheriffs are allowed to initiate traffic stops. So I mean, without a doubt, you know. So
Wonderful, that's perfect. And that's probably actually the opposite of the answer. So I definitely learned something new today. I don't know why, I just thought that everybody, you know, if you were in Millcreek, a Millcreek officer would pull you over. If you were in the city, a city officer would, but that's not the case. So I definitely learned something new today, and I bet our viewers did too. Is there anything else that we didn't cover in the show so far far that you want our viewers to know and take home with them before you guys have to leave?
Well, the one thing I kind of went by in the daily operations was prisoner transport. We transport prisoners from the county jail to the courthouse every day, sometimes 2-3 trips for various hearings. My staff does a great job in transporting prisoners. I don't want to curse myself, but we've never had an escape, attempted escape. Like I said, my staff does a great job, and we transport over close to 1,000 prisoners a year.
That's
back and forth.
incredible.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. You guys have a great track record. I'm going to knock on wood here, but you guys don't need it because you guys have all the training skills you need. You do your job beautifully. Thank you so much for coming.
I'd like to touch on
Please
one
do,
area.
yes.
Okay, our courthouse security unit, they encounter approximately 2,000 visitors per day that are
2,000.
screened. You know, that's the
I've been through those
that's the
screeners, yes.
estimate, and they do a phenomenal job in what they do. They really, really do by keeping everyone safe. Weapons, contraband out of the courthouse.
That's true. That's true. And it, as an individual, it makes me feel safer. As just a resident coming off the street, it makes me feel safer to be in the courthouse, knowing that everybody has gone through that screening process.
I appreciate that.
I just wanted to thank you guys so much for coming. And you guys, we will put on the screen your email address, your office hours, so someone can stop in and get a license to carry if they need one of those. We'll put your phone number on as well, but you also have a very successful Facebook page as well. So we want everyone to go and like their Facebook page. Go check their website out if you need anything from them. They've got office hours. You can stop into the office. Again, thank you so much for serving and protecting our community. I know we greatly appreciate it. Folks, until next time, have a wonderful day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.